Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. All protagonists, forced to rise to power due to salty fish. Lin Qi travels through a novel about urban harem and becomes the cannon fodder for his premature death. There are also Reborn and returning big brother, the second brother in law who has become redundant, the third brother with a money-making system, even the illegitimate fourth brother, who had just been found, may seem poor and uneducated, but in fact, he has multiple impressive vests outside. The struggle for family property is a bloody battle. Except for him, all are the protagonists. In his previous life, he fought and killed too much in a world where ghosts and monsters were rampant. Now, Lin Qi only wants to let the salted fish rot and enjoy life. In leisure time, doing fortune-telling, catching ghosts, and observing feng shui when the head of the family, Mr. Lin, died, he took his hand and entrusted the entire Lin family to him. The four sides tremble, and the protagonists are watching with great eyes. Watching the old man pass away happily, Lin Qi's tears streamed down his face. This is completely different from the ideal life I imagined of drinking small wine, eating hot pot, and living a lifetime. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. All protagonists. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hurry up and call the doctor. Lin Qi has come over. My child, open your eyes and take a look at your mother. Woo-woo. There was a commotion in his ears, and before he even opened his eyes, Lin Qi had already figured out his current situation. He was originally located in a world of chaotic order and rampant ghosts and monsters. Relying on one's abilities to traverse for decades, before death, it was already admired by thousands of people, and ghosts and monsters were frightened by the news. But I didn't expect to travel to an urban harem novel after death. Born into a wealthy family, above, reborn and returning, the son of the uncle, his elder brother, there is also the son-in-law of the second uncle's family, who is enduring for 10 years, there is also the third uncle's family, his third brother, who has a money-making system, even the illegitimate child just found by the fourth uncle's family, who looks poor and uneducated, actually has multiple impressive vests outside. In the novel, various urban protagonists are forced together to compete for the inheritance rights of the wealthy family. It can be said that the modern version of 9 sons taking the throne. And he, my parents are ranked 5th, and he is also the youngest member of the Lin family. He has been weak and sickly since childhood, and his parents are the villain who constantly creates obstacles in the novel. He is also a small cannon fodder with a gloomy heart, who wants to fight for power but lacks the ability, and quickly dies young. At this point, he just woke up from the intensive care unit. Lin Qi confirmed, his original body with the same name and surname has died, and his soul has also disappeared. Not liked by the Lin family, with 4 main characters weighing heavily on their heads, such an unfavorable start. Lin Qi almost burst into tears of joy. What a peaceful and beautiful world. What is the competition for family property? Making a salted fish at home, you can just reach out and get the money. Isn't it good to eat and drink spicy food every day? Lin Qi worked hard to open his eyes, just wanted to see my own villainous parents. Suddenly, a white light flashed before my eyes. The cannon fodder self-rescue system is being bound of binding successful, current lifespan. 360 days, reputation value. 0, tip. 100 reputation points can be exchanged for 1 day of lifespan. Lin Qi's joyful mood slightly calmed down. I almost forgot that this body was a premature death. Even if the shell changes the core, the rules of this world will not make him easily change his life. But what is the reputation value? The thought just flashed by, the system will prompt. Reliable reputation value enhances visibility, obtains family rights, establishes a listed company. And so on. Is this to make him compete for power and profit with the protagonists? Is there no other way? Reputation. Lin Qi's mind suddenly changed. the light quickly cleared up in front of me. A middle-aged woman with a round face, heavy makeup, and curly hair was watching him wipe away tears by the bed. Just wake up, but I'm so worried about my mother. Lin Qi blinked his eyes, feeling the unwavering concern in a woman's eyes, thinking of his previous life without a father or mother, only his master who adopted him. A warm heart, Mom, exclaimed weakly, ah. The woman quickly responded, tears falling even harder. You suddenly fainted, and the doctor said you. All right. A thick male voice suddenly interrupted Lin's mother's words, with a tone that implied a warning. The children are all awake, why are you still talking about those things? Lin's mother remained silent, but her eyes were sorrowful. It seems that they all know the fact that Lin Qiming is not long away and want to keep it from him. Lin Qi turned his head and saw his father with a national face. Lin's father also had concern in his eyes, but the tone of the export was tough. If you wake up, take a good rest. The company is still busy, so I'll leave first. After speaking, he turned around and left the ward. Lin's mother held Lin Qi's hand, while crying, he said viciously, yes, you rest well. It should be your thing, and your parents will bring it back to you. You don't have to worry. No, he doesn't want anything at all. Lin Qigong was about to speak, the ward door was pushed open and a tall, handsome man around 25 years old walked in. Xiao Wu, I heard you're awake. I happened to be nearby and came specifically to see you. Just now, Lin Mu, who was still fierce, suddenly smiled and changed her face quickly. She took the fruit basket and said, Third, come and do whatever you bring with you. It's all a family. The person who came was Lin Qingyuan, the son of the third uncle's family, who had a money-making system. Lin Qi carefully scrutinized Lin Qingyuan, watching Lin Qingyuan walk to the bedside and politely interact with Lin's mother. It should be. I feel relieved when I see Xiao Wu wake up, and going back can also make Grandpa feel at ease. Lin's mother's smile became somewhat forced as she said, Your grandfather. He can feel at ease now. My original personality was gloomy and lacked skills, and I have never liked Grandpa Lin, the current head of the Lin family. Lin Qingyuan just smiled, didn't answer Lin's mother's words, and finally looked at Lin Qi on the bed. How do you feel? Lin Qi is also looking at Lin Qingyuan. Thinking of Lin Qingyuan coming to visit me, he doesn't have any resentment towards the main characters either, still kind enough to remind. Third brother, you've been committing a crime recently. You need to be careful of people with names that contain fire. Chapter 2. Wang Er Becomes a Villain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The words fell to the ground, and the entire ward became quiet. Lin Qingyuan instinctively frowned, first reaction, it's a heartfelt sneer. He carries a mysterious money-making system that runs smoothly in the mall, and even if he encounters any accidents, he will receive timely reminders from the system. Now, there are no relevant prompts in the system, can Lin Qi still be more powerful than the system? Wait, no, it's not right, why did this useless younger brother suddenly speak to him in a street god-like tone? I'll go back to the company and see if there are any employees whose names happen to have the word fire, Lin Qingyuan joked perfunctorily. After saying a few more words to Lin's mother, he hurriedly left. Looking at Lin Qingyuan's back, Lin Qi sighed softly, the third brother of the Lin family seems to have a bit of a daze in his mind. He said that the name carries fire, but he didn't say that it must be the word fire in the name. At this point, Lin Mu, who had been holding back her mouth for a while, finally couldn't help but approach Lin Qi and excitedly said. Son, did you leave any leverage on the third party? Just now, you were trying to intimidate him. Facing the shining gaze of his mother's, expecting his son to become a villain, Lin Qi tugged at the corner of his mouth and smiled helplessly. After staying in the hospital for 5 days, the doctor said that Lin Qi's body was temporarily fine. Under Lin Qi's urging, Lin's mother finally reluctantly went home to rest. Lin Qi lives in a luxurious single-patient room with dedicated staff to take care of him. A loving gaze watched as the blushing little nurse put down her food and fruits and left. Lin Qi opened his phone to study the current top priority. He needs to learn more about the current world. The novel only presents a small aspect of this world, there are more aspects that can only be explored by oneself. Focusing on it, when I looked up again, it was already 11 o'clock at night. To distract Lin Qi, it was uploaded from the corridor outside a somewhat familiar aura. Lin Qi was taken out of bed, opened the door, I saw an old man wearing a hospital uniform, with white hair all over his head, but a straight back, pacing back and forth in the hallway with his hands behind his back. At the nearby nurse station, the two busy nurses didn't even take a glance. The old man turned his head and stopped in place, facing Lin Qi's eyes. While the old man was observing Lin Qi was also looking at him. This is a ghost. But unlike the ghosts and monsters in his previous life, he was much weaker and more peaceful. Perhaps it's because the underground order here is still operating normally, Lin Qi sighed in his heart. Soon, the ghost of the old man also found that Lin Qi could see him, suddenly emotional excitement arose. But the soul body is too weak, maintaining human form is already the limit, unable to speak, and unable to touch physical objects. For the first time, Lin Qi coexisted peacefully with ghosts, great sense of novelty, carefully feel the ideas that the old man is trying to convey, with a slight nod, I understand, he said softly. The old man's expression was moving, and he trembled as he bowed before gradually disappearing into place. Walking to the door of the adjacent ward, Lin Qi hesitated for a moment and pushed open the door. Hearing the sound of the door opening, the man sleeping on the sofa in the ward woke up in an instant, seeing Lin Qi at the door, startled. As soon as he spoke, his tone was naturally not good. Who are you? A man is in middle age, with straight facial features and a vertical line on his eyebrows. He is not angry or arrogant, and he unconsciously carries the aura of being in a high position for a long time. Seeing Lin Qi wearing a hospital uniform, the man's attitude softened and he said, "Did you go to the wrong ward?" Lin Qi didn't answer and only looked at the man. For some unknown reason, the man suddenly felt a tingling sensation in his scalp as he looked into the calm eyes of Lin Qi. But soon, that kind of gaze disappeared, Lin Qi's overall aura relaxed, the man also instinctively breathed a sigh of relief, then, he heard Lin Qi say in a warm spring breeze, "Your father just passed away." The man widened his eyes, he scolded, "What nonsense are you talking about?" But subconsciously, the man looked towards the hospital bed. Before going to bed, the father and son chatted for a while, and he just squinted for a little over 10 minutes. At this point, the old man lying on the bed, with a kind face, looked exactly like the old man in the corridor just now. At the request of the old man and the doctor's advice, he didn't plug in the instrument, as if he would open his eyes the next second. The man rushed to the hospital bed, fingers trembled and pressed against the old man's neck. "No jumping. Doctor. Doctor." Soon, footsteps were heard outside. The man's eyes turned red and he called out his father's name. When doctors and nurses rushed into the ward, suddenly, he turned his head, remembering the young man who appeared eerily just now. "No one noticed that young man. How did you know again?" When doctors perform routine examinations on the body of an elderly person, Lin Qi has walked behind the man. "Your father forgot to tell you before he left. Let me take a message for him. Remember to burn the things in the first drawer on the left side of his desk for him." Chapter 3. If you come across this video, you are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man no longer has any vital signs. Because the elderly are mentally prepared when they come to the hospital, so although men are sad, they also quickly accept it. Just facing Lin Qi, the man is still somewhat uncertain. When calling to inform the other members of the family, the man thought of Lin Qi's words. On the brink of a worldview collapse, the man finally couldn't help but ask a younger generation in the family to visit the old man's study. On the other end of the phone, the younger generation was still muttering, "What exactly is it? It's even more important than rushing to see Grandpa now." The man said impatiently, "Stop talking nonsense." The younger generation remained silent. When waiting for a response from the younger generation, Lin Qi spoke again. "That thing was prepared by your father long ago. After his death, he can take it to show to his comrades who died 50 years ago." Meanwhile, the other end of the phone is also talking, "Found it. Ha! It's a videotape. How come we have such an old antique at home? Wait, let me see. The 70th anniversary documentary of our motherland. What is this?" Lin Qi smiled knowingly and said, "I specially found someone to make a videotape. I thought it would be easier to burn it when I burned it, right?" The old man was very well prepared. However, at this point, men no longer have the heart to care about what the other end of the phone is saying. Looking at Lin Qi incredulously, various emotions surge. Ultimately, it comes down to reverence. "Master." Lin Qi smiled, not caring about the attitude of others. "I have brought it with me, it's a matter of mourning and change." Ding, reputation value +1, Lin Qi was taken aback for a moment, then the smile became more sincere. So it could still be like this the next day. Lin Qi was discharged early. Although the spiritual energy in this world is scarce and cultivation is slow, it is also extremely easy for Lin Qi to strengthen his body. "My body has improved, but my health has not changed at all." The man who arranged the elderly's affairs and hurried back to the hospital with his secretary only saw an already empty ward. Lin Qi returned to the small villa that his father had purchased for him in the city center, eating the nutritious meal prepared by the nanny. "I just feel that the life without fighting is really comfortable." Swipe your phone. Lin Qi began to ponder on last night's new discovery. "I have found a suitable way to obtain my reputation value, but the efficiency is too low." When drawing an app with a note pattern, Lin Qi stayed, "As soon as my eyes lit up, if we can expand the scope." For this currently hottest short video app, Lin Qi only has a rough understanding. After focusing on watching the video for an hour, Lin Qi began to conceive the video he was preparing to produce. Based on existing information, the most popular type of video is popular divination, followed by celebrity divination videos. However, compared to other types of videos, the popularity is only in the middle or lower range. As for the accuracy of video content, Lin Qi just shook his head and long pressed the video to click without interest. And divination is all tarot cards. Local fortune telling, due to methods, is at a disadvantage in telling fortune to a group of people through mobile phones. But Lin Qi is different. Although in his previous life, he stood above 10,000 people with absolute ability to slay ghosts, but his divination and divination techniques are also at the pinnacle, almost astronomical. With thoughts in mind, Lin Qi started making videos. Time, space, Lin Qi even looked up at the weather outside the window. At 1:25 in the middle of the night. It will rain. When the nanny passed by Lin Qi while cleaning, she happened to hear Lin Qi talking to herself. With a smile, he continued, "The clouds are very high in the sky, and the weather forecast says it won't rain for the next 3 days. Lin Qi also smiled at his aunt and didn't say much, continuing to make the video. Auntie asked for trouble and quickly walked away. The divination content is fast, but because it's the first time making a video, not proficient in the end. When the video is released for review, it's already 9 p.m. Not in a hurry to care about the follow-up of the video, Lin Qi goes to bed early. Wang Jianfa is a contractor. The contractor has become bigger and stronger, and now everyone wants to call him Mr. Wang when they see him. Starting from scratch and having a family fortune of over 100 million, with a charming wife and a healthy elderly person, Wang Jianfa felt that the pinnacle of life was nothing more than that. Today my wife went back to her parents' house, and Wang Jianfa got home after drinking. He lay in bed and watched short videos to pass the time. 3 seconds to draw a video. Wang Jianfa looked uninterested. Please confirm first that you are alone. Wang Jianfa's fingers froze. The newly released video has sparked interest. Glancing at the video author, Chenkuan Kanlijin Zhen Sun Dui, I haven't brushed it before. No likes, only a dozen comments. However, in the era of big data, pushing any content is not uncommon. The video is still playing. If you came across this video at 1:25 a.m. in 2023, Wang Jianfa glanced at the time in the upper left corner of his phone. It happens to be 1:25, he unconsciously sat up straight. Rumble, suddenly, a thunderbolt rang out from outside, the splashing rain fell down, dispelling the stuffy summer heat, but Wang Jianfa felt a slight numbness in his chest. Staring at the video made me inexplicably nervous. You will receive bad news within 5 minutes. Chapter 4. Why your fortune teller is different from me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The video is very short, even though only the text is made very roughly. But Wang Jianfa's mood couldn't calm down for a long time. Perhaps it's because of a coincidence in time. He came across the video at 1:25 exactly. Click on the comments section, you can finish it at a glance. Now fortune telling is starting to enter short videos. Unfortunately, I came across it at 1 a.m., curious about whether it was accurate or not. Fortune telling and divination are just statistics and psychology, there's no such thing as mysticism. Nowadays, video authors do everything for the sake of traffic. Ding dong. Suddenly, a WeChat prompt sounded. Wang Jianfa's hand trembled with fear and almost dropped his phone on his face. He glanced at the time, 1:26, the first time. Wang Jian hesitated when he clicked on the opening message. It can't be true. Can it take 3 deep breaths? Wang Jianfa clicked to open WeChat. It's a friend request. He saw the attached message for the application. Hello, your wife and my boyfriend are having an affair. Can we talk about it? The vast amount of information. Wang Jianfa widened his eyes. That night, the video released by Lin Qi quietly climbed to popularity. When people who wake up early watch short videos, I have seen over 10,000 video comments. The first popular comment. The video I watched at 1:25, and a minute later I received a message saying that my wife had an affair. The affair was with a male college student who was using my wallet to keep him, or was told by my fair-faced girlfriend. Without further ado, she was cursing the dog man and woman together with the little girl. There are hundreds of replies below that sympathize with the older brother, and hundreds of replies that urge the older brother to quickly catch the young girl together, share hardships, and start a second spring. Afterwards, the comments with higher positions were all feedback from people who watched the video at 1:25. I got it at 1:25. After watching the video, I also received a message that my application to XX University abroad was not approved. Although it was very sad. But the video is really accurate, same as 1:25. It's rare to go to bed late on a day off and play with my phone, only to see my idol's house collapse. 1:25, content that involves personal privacy and is inconvenient to disclose bad news. If the video author sees this comment, can they reply to a private message? Most of the comments are shocking. Is there really such a magical thing? The higher the popularity of the video, the higher it becomes. But among these comments, also mixed with voices of questioning. Among them, the one with the highest likes has reached the 3rd place in popular comments. Did you reply in the comments section? Public divination is definitely not as accurate as this. Some people declare that they are not a scapegoat, but more people are eating melons to watch the excitement. Lin Qi woke up and immediately found that his reputation had increased. Current lifespan: 360 days, reputation value: 2139. Lin Qi happily exchanged his reputation value. Watching the lifespan increase to 381 days, I suddenly felt my breathing becoming more intense. Click on the account homepage. However, overnight, the number of fans increased from 0 to 2,138, which happened to be the growth value of reputation. Flip through the comments section. At a glance, Lin Qi saw a hot review questioning his search for support. Click on the comment account. I used to be a small video blogger with 30.40 thousand followers, named Wangdong Sanren, who would introduce some mystical knowledge, and also had a VX account listed below the profile. For this world, his statement is also correct. Unfortunately, the person making the video is Lin Qi. Lin Qi woke up and pondered over the next video. We still need to do something to break the doubt. Lin Qi frowned and said, the popularity of the video is very high. If the questioning is reduced, I should be able to gain more reputation. In the afternoon of that day, new video blogger, Qian Kun Ken Li Zhen Zhen Sun Dui, after the first video became popular, I did not reply to any comments, but updated the second video in a short period of time. When the scattered people from the East come across the video has just been released, he sneered, seeing the high popularity, I really can't hold my breath. If I post a video so quickly, I'm not afraid of crashing. Wang Dongsan usually creates video accounts to attract traffic. After adding fans on WeChat, we officially started doing business. Although the account doesn't have many fans, but the money spent by his fans on fortune-telling, buying talismans, and pills is enough for him to eat and drink spicy food. I hope that the scattered people in the East have spent money to worship their teachers and consider themselves to be part of the mystical school. Fuji and Danya do not have the legendary magical effects, but they have not killed anyone either. In his view, Qiankuan Canli's and Jengsen Dui is just a studio account that spends money to buy and doesn't understand anything. The video style continues from the previous video. At the beginning of the playback, there are a few large characters. This video is valid for 24 hours. Jump to the next screen, the top 10 people who commented on this video. The screen turns again, the first person to comment, there will be a bloody disaster when going out today. The second commenter, there will be a windfall today. The third commentator, please go to the hospital for a physical examination as soon as possible. The fourth commenter, the next video you swipe will have exactly the information you need. The fifth commentator, pay attention to the animals at home. After watching the video, I hope the scattered people in the East can, stupid. What operation is this? This is completely different from his understanding of fortune-telling. Video author, are you completely messing around? Then, the scattered people in the East discovered that, someone likes the video, someone forwarded it, but no one has commented yet. Everyone is undoubtedly wary of what is said in the video. The first person to comment, there will be a bloody disaster when going out today. Chapter 5. Shaking a hexagram for oneself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the scattered people, their eyes lit up, the opportunity has come. Without hesitation, Hope Dongsanren seizes the first comment position. I want to see what kind of disaster I might have. I hope I don't see bloggers deleting videos and running away. When commenting, the scattered people in the East have already planned, no matter what happens today, I won't go out, wait for 24 hours to pass, further ridicule the video author. Seeing someone occupying the first position, others didn't have as much attention and comments quickly increased. Secondly, record it and come back for feedback later. Reply. Shit. I originally wanted to take second place, but how did I end up in third place? I'm so curious about whether there is any mysticism in the world to grab a spot. Occupy, reply. Ah. Am I the fifth one? But I don't have any pets at home, do I? The more you read the comments, the happier the scattered people will be. Especially Article 5, they don't even have pets at home, which doesn't match the clear video content. Hee. Wang Dongsan leisurely brewed a bag of loose Tai Guanyin for himself, while tasting tea, refusing invitations from friends to drink, requests from clients to meet, and even parents asking him to go home for dinner today. Wang Dongsan firmly stated that regardless of the situation, we will talk tomorrow. For such 3 hours, nothing happened. Wang Dongsan has already figured out how to slap the face of Qiankuan Canli Zhenjengsen, and then attract traffic to his own account. In the prime of my life, the doorbell suddenly rang. Ding-dong, the tea in the scattered population almost sprayed out. But he quickly calmed down. No matter who comes, he can just stay indoors. Wipe your mouth, clear your throat, and ask the scattered person in the east, who is it? A strong male voice came from outside the door. We are dispatched from XX urban area. What? The scattered people in the east dare not sit still, hurriedly ran to open the door. As soon as the door opened, two upright young men stood at the door. Uncle Inspector, what's up? Wang Dongsan's voice became hoarse. Being called uncle by a middle-aged uncle, the two young people didn't feel uncomfortable and notified him in a straight line. Someone reported to the police that you cheated, come with us. Wang Dongsan broke out in a cold sweat and said, no, I can't. I abide by the law and didn't do those things. Inspection. Ms. Kai Bihua, is this your client? Wang Dongsan's legs began to soften. Yes. And he was also his big client with transaction records, he couldn't deny it. But why did he suddenly report to the police to catch him? When taken out of the house by inspection, Wang Dongsan's whole body is still in a daze. As a result, if you don't pay attention, I missed a step while descending the stairs, I fell straight down. Ouch. Fortunately, the stairs were not high enough to prevent any fatalities from falling. Wang Dongsan sat on the ground, unable to recover from the pain for half a day. Two inspectors quickly checked his situation. I hope the scattered people in the east can put down their hands that are covering their heads. Then, seeing the blood on one hand, he widened his eyes. Unbelievable, it's creepy again, the disaster of blood and light. In less than 24 hours, the comments section received feedback one after another. The person who made a windfall went out and found money. The person who went to the hospital for examination found early gastric cancer and exclaimed in shock that the video author was Ban Xian, his savior, and he was also preparing to update the treatment process on his own account. Even the fifth comment about not having a pet at home replied under my own comment. Today, while cleaning, my mom found a mouse hole with many jewelry that she thought was accidentally lost. I don't know how long the mouse has been living in our house. Oh my, now I understand that the master said to be careful of animals, not pets. More and more people who browse videos are seeing the comment section, they are all in shock. Is it really so mysterious? But soon, everyone has found that, the person who made the first comment has not yet provided feedback. It doesn't seem that accurate either. 90% accuracy is already terrifying, okay. And I remember the ID of this comment. Previously, I said the author was looking for him, right? Maybe he deliberately didn't provide feedback. Maybe the other 9 people are just excuses, and he is the only righteous bystander. As the comments section becomes increasingly lively, someone posted a news link to the bottom. News is an inconspicuous piece of small news, but the content shocked everyone. Online video blogger Wang Dongsanren, formerly known as Zhang XX, attracted customers through Do. The victim Kai XX purchased the soda called Ping and Pill and gave it to his child for consumption. The child was taken to the hospital. Now safe. Zhang XX has been arrested. Beware of online fraud and feudal superstition. The news also comes with a photo. Wang Dongsan's face was mosaic painted. I can still see the fresh wound on his forehead. The comment section suddenly exploded. Current lifespan: 381 days, reputation value. For 1639, Lin Qi is very satisfied with the dissemination of short videos, and within 2 days, his fans have exceeded 10,000. When you wake up, Lin Qi is in a good mood. Find 3 coins and shake them for yourself. After seeing the hexagram, Lin Qi frowned. Finally, with a helpless sigh, those who should have come cannot avoid. Soon, the phone rings. Notify him to go back to the Lin family's old house for dinner, today at the old house, and those 4 older brothers. Chapter 6. Return of the Gods. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Due to Lin Qi's poor health since childhood, his parents have protected him to a heinous extent. He didn't even trust himself when driving, fearing it would tire him, so he was specially assigned a driver. I am disgusted by my parents' excessive protection, but Lin Qi is happy to have someone to serve him in everything he does. Lazily sitting in the back seat of Bentley, I received an unfamiliar phone call. Hello, may I ask if you are Qiankuan Canley's and Jenkson DUI? I am Tongyun Media. Can you have a chat when you have time? Under Tongyun Media, there are multiple popular video accounts that can rank in the top 3 in terms of operation and marketing. When learning about short videos, Lin Qi naturally also understood the operation behind short videos. I am. We think your account has great potential. If you sign a contract with our company, we can help you operate your account and receive advertisements. If you only rely on yourself and want to convert traffic into income, you definitely won't have the potential, said the person on the opposite side with a crackling sound. Sorry, Lin Qi rubbed his brow and interrupted. The other person was taken aback for a moment before saying, you may not be very familiar with personal accounts. Lin Qi spoke again, I mean, I'm not short of money. Opposite. Lin Qi. I'm really sorry. Opposite. Hanging up the phone, casually turning the number black, Lin Qi leaned back on the leather seat and closed his eyes to rest. 40 minutes later, we finally arrived at the old house. The Lin family's old house is located in the suburbs and has a history of nearly 100 years. 100 years ago, the land near the old house also belonged to the Lin family, but now many of the land, as well as a mountain next to the old house, have been returned to the country and become scenic spots. Lin Qi stepped into the gate, passed by the courtyard, and first saw Lin's father and mother sitting in the hall. Seeing her son, Lin Mu immediately stood up and welcomed him. You're really not saying anything when you're discharged, and you don't listen when your mother calls you to stay home. Are you okay now? The younger generation doesn't live in the old house, and Lin's parents have another place to live in the city center. Lin Qi supported Lin's mother's arm and comforted, the doctor said I'm fine, don't worry. Lin's father only nodded and said hello to him, but still drank tea without saying a word. Lin's mother kept asking for warmth and comfort, while Lin Qi patiently answered one by one. It wasn't until a sturdy figure in a suit entered through the side door that Lin Mu's voice subsided. Lin Qi looked over, a man in his early 30s, with handsome features and a serious demeanor, is the eldest among the younger generation. The reincarnated elder brother. Uncle Wu, Aunt Wu, Lin Lao Da's gaze fell on Lin Qi, and a contemptuous expression flashed in his eyes. Brother Wu has also come. Have you been doing well lately? Lin Qi pretended not to notice the plastic brotherhood between the two and smiled calmly, it's much better. Mr. Lin was somewhat surprised. Lin Qi has a gloomy personality and doesn't have a good expression towards his brothers. Why did he suddenly change his personality and still smile at him? He couldn't guess what Lin Qi was thinking for a moment. A sense of crisis flashed through Lin's heart, but he quickly dispelled his thoughts. He was reborn and knew that Lin Qi would die of illness in a year, so even if Lin Qi had any plans now, it didn't matter. Lin Laoda looked at Lin Qi with a hint of pity in his eyes and said, that's good, everyone is worried about you. Lin Qi smiled and nodded. Worry is worry, but apart from Lao Sanlin Qingyuan, no one has come to the hospital to see him. Grandpa is still waiting for me to play chess. Let's take a step first, Lin said to his father and mother without much hesitation. Lin's mother smiled and sent the person away. When we can't see anyone anymore, my face immediately pulled down. Mr. Lin is the most eye-catching among the younger generation. They are still waiting here, but Mr. Lin went directly to see Mr. Lin. Lin's mother looked at Lin Qi, feeling both heartbroken and angry, with a cold snort, make a negative statement. Sooner or later, I will let him know that his beloved grandson can't even compare to our son's finger. Lin Qi. No need, Mom, really no need. Not long after, the fourth and second families unexpectedly came together. The second sister is beautiful and has a good figure, but she has a proud expression on her face. She walks at the front with her chin raised, followed by her second brother. Lol. The son. Lol. Lin Qi looked at the second brother. Lol, who was helping the second sister carry her bag and hold her hands, and noticed that he indeed had a face like a dragon and phoenix among people, secretly admiring him. Surprisingly, his appearance is even better than that of Mr. Lin. Behind the two of them was Lao Si, who had just been taken home. Lao Si has just graduated from college and is dressed simply. His shoes are still tattered canvas shoes, and he and his second sister wearing gold and silver are like people from two different worlds. Lin's mother glanced at second sister, say hello to the fourth person directly, why are you here alone? Where's your mother? Lao Si smiled shyly, and Lin Qi noticed that his smile did not reach the bottom of his eyes. She was feeling unwell and afraid that I wouldn't be able to find my way, so she asked second sister to bring me along. Second sister sneered and muttered, wild seed. She didn't deliberately lower her voice, and the people around her could hear it clearly. Uncle Si passed away in a car accident in his early years, and Aunt Si had no children. The child he had just found was the illegitimate child of his husband and former family nanny. Aunt Si endured nausea and treated him as her son, so naturally she wouldn't treat him well. Lin Qi discovered that, upon hearing the words, wild seed, the second brother. Law tugged at the corner of his mouth and remained silent. Lao Si didn't even change his expression. Each person's thoughts are profound and completely different from what they express. Lin's mother, however, became even more passionate about Lao Si, go personally and bring the person to your side, kind inquiry. I heard that you haven't found a job yet after graduation. Aunt Wu has a job opportunity here. Do you want to give it a try? Lin Qi was taken aback for a moment, looking at my mother. I instantly understood my mother's thoughts. She felt that Lao Si was despised and isolated at home, and wanted to bring him over. No matter how capable he was, he could cultivate a helper for Lin Qi at home. Lin Qi looked at Lao Si again. Lao Si's smile remained shy. Scratch your head, then, please trouble Aunt Wu. Lin's mother smiled and patted his hand, saying, good child. Obviously, he is very satisfied with the seemingly timid fourth brother. Lin Qi almost took a sip of tea and sprayed it out. Seemingly, it was Lin Mu who used Lao Si, but why didn't Lao Si use Lin Mu to first get in touch with the Lin family's industry? At that time, when the timid fourth generation grows up, wouldn't they simply dismiss him as the incompetent and physically ill main character? Lin Qi looked at his mother with sorrow. The crowd is dancing wildly, none of them are fuel-efficient lamps. This further strengthened his determination not to interfere with the family's struggle for power. The fourth brother shyly greeted Lin Qi and said, fifth brother. Seeing the smile on all sides and the coldness in his eyes, Lin Qi nodded in frustration. Second sister is listening beside, with another sneer, looking at his red nails, he raised his eyelids and said. A wild seed, a waste, come together. The second brother. Law tugged at her sleeve and whispered, Wan, don't say that. Second sister stared and her brother. Law stopped talking. The fourth head was buried lower. The second sister openly looked down on him, and Lin Qi also saw his son. Law, the second brother. Law, and the disguised pig-eating tiger old four secretly looking down on him. There's no way, who says that the original body has always had limited abilities, only a strong temper. Suddenly, there are footsteps coming from the main entrance again. Old Sanlin Qingyuan arrives late. Lin Qi looked up at the sky in silence. Everyone has arrived. Everyone looked towards the door. Unexpectedly, Lin Qingyuan, who had always been a young elite and remained calm in handling things, at the moment I saw Lin Qi, the foot that stepped into the door stiffened, next, unconsciously taking a half step back. In his expression, full of uncertainty, unease, confusion, nervousness, and even fear. So, everyone looked at Lin Qi in unison. But Lin Qi smiled and nodded at Lin Qingyuan. Lin Qingyuan trembled and his face turned 2 points pale. What happened here? How could it make Lin Qingyuan show that kind of expression? Chapter 7. Sleeping on Salaries and Tasting Gallbladder. No, it's really a mess. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For the first time since Lin Qi entered the house, he took the initiative to say hello to his peers. Third brother, how have you been lately? The original intention was to express closeness. After all, whether it's true or false, old Sanlin Qingyuan is the only peer who came to the hospital to visit him. But to Lin Qingyuan's ears, Lin Qi's simple sentence, the meaning behind it is profound. Lin Qingyuan wiped away the cold sweat that appeared on his forehead at an unknown time. Because of his system, unlike others, Lin Qingyuan has set up an internet company. That day, Lin Qi said he committed a crime and should be careful of people with names that carry fire. After returning to the company, he will forget Lin Qi's words. Unexpectedly, one day later, before preparing a project bid, the system reminds him someone within the company has revealed their low prices to competitors. Fortunately, it was discovered in advance that during the bidding process, Lin Qingyuan turned the tide and successfully won the project. Afterwards, find the person who leaked company secrets. It's a manager. My name is Zhou Yan. The words spoken by Lin Qi were like a thunderbolt exploding in his mind. Be careful of people with fire in their names. Lin Qingyuan immediately investigated Zhou Yan's background and found that he had no interaction with Lin Qi, only being bribed by competing companies. Lin Qi is even more unlikely to put his own eyeliner in the competitive companies. That is to say, Lin Qi even reminded him earlier than the system that Zhou Yan had a problem. Does Lin Qi also have a system? Or rather, does he really know how to tell fortune? Feeling uneasy for a few days, when we see Lin Qi again, faced with this suddenly elusive younger brother, Lin Qingyuan inexplicably dared not approach him. Lin Qingyuan's mind was full of thoughts. When speaking, I couldn't help but become polite. It's okay, you've been doing well lately, haven't you? Lin Qi smiled kindly and said, I'm fine with my health. Thank you very much for your concern, third brother. The two of them exchanged pleasantries. The people around have different expressions. The second sister looked at them suspiciously, puzzled. Isn't the third fairy keeping a distance from everyone? When did the relationship with the fifth become so good? She didn't expect her second brother in law around her to answer either, as the man was just a sullen gourd with an excellent temper. Thinking of this, second sister glared at second sister's husband with a resentful expression. Lunch time. After everyone sat down, Lin Lauda helped the old man out. Mr. Lin sat on the left side of the old man, and the second sister immediately moved affectionately to his right side and sat down. Grandpa, Wan has been too busy lately and hasn't even come to see you. Have you thought of Wan? The old man was old and strong, his eyes burning with fire. He just smiled lightly as he watched his granddaughter act coquettishly with him. It doesn't matter if you don't come and see me if you can do your job well. The second sister's smile remained unchanged, constantly coaxing the old man with beautiful words and occasionally provoking Lin Qi with her eyes. Lin Qi slowly peeled the lobster. At first, I didn't understand why second sister kept twitching at his eyes. It took a while before I remembered. If I were to say that my original body was seriously ill and hospitalized this time, second sister has put in a lot of effort. Yuan Shen and Jia competed for the management rights of a subsidiary company. Yuan Shen had a bad temper and was provoked by Jia's words. He threw something in front of the old man and even cursed loudly. Directly delivered the opportunity to second sister. After returning home, he was in a hurry and his heart problems worsened, and he was sent to the intensive care unit. To understand the causes and consequences, Lin Qi didn't even lift his eyebrows. Managing the company's laborious work, if second sister likes it, he can't help but beg for it. Lin Qi didn't react at all. Second sister felt like she had been performing for a long time, like a clown, gradually settling down. On the other side, the old man was also silently observing Lin Qi. Seeing that Lin Qi did not behave like before, just throw a bowl and go berserk, a bit surprised. He knows about Lin Qi, a child with a strange temper and narrow-mindedness, which is also the reason why he has never given Lin Qi more opportunities. Is it a serious illness? Has the child changed their gender? The old man estimated in his heart, speak up and call him. Lin Qi. Everyone stopped their chopsticks. Lin Qi looked at Mr. Lin. Grandpa. The old man said, I failed the college entrance examination this time. Do you have any plans in the future? Lin Qi was taken aback. Not long after crossing over, he was constantly trying to earn reputation every day, almost forgetting that he is still an 18-year-old student now. Before Lin Qi could answer, the old man continued, I'll give you two choices. Your family can send you to study abroad. Alternatively, you can start studying from scratch at a subsidiary company and consider your educational background later. The words fell to the ground. Second sister looked directly at Lin Qi in shock. The second brother in law is still peeling shrimp for the second sister. Lao Si glanced at Lin Qi. The third person looked at Lin Qi and then at the old man, with a strange expression. The boss and God are here, it seems that it's not personal. Lin's mother, however, had an excited expression and wished she could make a choice for Lin Qi. Everyone sitting here knows in their hearts, old man, this is giving Lin Qi a chance. No matter how you choose, as long as you follow the old man's arrangement, taking over greater power is just a matter of time. The old man is also waiting for Lin Qi's answer. The first choice is also okay. If Lin Qi chooses the second one, it means that the child has learned to endure hardships. Lin Qi wiped his hands, under the gaze of several lines of sight, finally speaking. No, thank you for your kindness, Grandpa. I'm currently researching short videos. The old man was taken aback and said. Do you want to invest? Lin Qi shook his head and said, I'm taking pictures myself. The old man's face suddenly turned black. Chapter 8. Just want to do something you like. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How could you be so unproductive? No more subsidiaries. Don't compete for power anymore. Take a short video. The old man felt that Lin Qi's lack of ambition had already rushed towards his face. Second sister laughed out loud directly. The old man's face was stern. What's so funny? The second sister's expression froze. The old man's emotions are a bit complicated at this moment, although Lin Qi's personality has changed a bit, but it's much more pleasing to the eye than before. Just Lin Qishuan also promoted his account. If you are interested, you can follow it. No one answered. The old man's face turned black again. 3 seconds later, Lin Qingyuan silently took out his phone and, under the strange gaze of everyone, gave Lin Qi a follow. For nothing else, he just wanted to observe more and see why Lin Qi could have known about Zhou Yan earlier than the system did. Except for Lin Qi, everyone ate a tasteless meal. As the most capable son of the old man, Father Lin was left alone. The others went home separately. As the boss sat in the car, he was still thinking about what Lin Qi did today. In his previous life, Lin Qi did not make any short videos, and until his death, he was deeply resentful for not being reused. Did his rebirth trigger the butterfly effect? However, in the past, Lin Qi's methods could still slightly disgust him, but now, take a short video. He no longer needs to take Lin Qi seriously. On the other side, Lin's mother escorted Lin Qi home, bring along the fourth person who doesn't have a car. After holding back the whole meal, I finally couldn't help but speak up. Grandpa wants to give you a chance, why don't you know how to continue? Shoot short videos, can you be a hobby? I'll go talk to your grandfather, and everything you say at the table is just a joke. Lin Qi quickly intercepted Lin Mu from the raging wind and fire, intentionally using a soft tone. He said, Mom, I've gone through hell before. I've figured out a lot of things, and now I just want to do something I like. Sure enough, upon hearing this, Lin Mu, my eyes immediately turned red. Thinking of my son's current physical condition, he is living an extra day, how can he still be unhappy? After gathering Lin Qi's clothes, Lin's mother stopped persuading him. Lin Qi quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Lao Si silently watched the interaction between mother and son. Today is the first time he has met someone from the Lin family since he was found back. Thinking of Lin Qi shown in the previous survey data, strive for strength and competitiveness, looking back now the fourth person touched the inconspicuous ring on his index finger, I feel that facing the huge industry of the Lin family and the strong Lin father and mother, Lin Qifua, is well connected. It's a bit difficult to describe in one word. The old man invited his old friend to have tea the next day. The first sentence when an old friend meets is, "I heard your youngest grandson is currently filming a short video. Mr. Lin." The veins on the forehead bulged. "How do you know?" My old friend laughed heartily and said, "What the little girl Wan said may have spread throughout their peer circles now." Mr. Lin. How could such a shameful thing be spread everywhere? Mr. Lin had a vague evaluation of his second sister in his heart. Seeing the old man's expression, my old friend comforted me and said, "Oh my, it's normal for children to enjoy playing. You see so many old people outside, don't you also like to hold on to a phone and watch videos? It's their own business whether they can argue or not, so don't be stubborn." Mr. Lin gave him a sidelong glance and said, "Your granddaughter is well behaved and sensible. Of course, you always speak cold words." My old friend laughed even louder. Lin's mother fulfilled her promise and arranged for Lao Si to join Lin's headquarters, but it was already settled in one day. With a diploma from a senior or second-tier university, I couldn't even qualify for an interview. The fourth person came to thank you. Lin's mother waved her hand and said anxiously, "If you really want to thank me, you can go find Lin Qi more to play. He stays at home every day, and I'm really worried. You're about the same age, so you should be able to play together." So Lao Si silently left again. Old Four sneered from the bottom of his heart. How can there be any ill-intentioned kindness in a wealthy family? Lin's mother arranged for him to enter the company, but she hoped that he could help Lin Qi explore the way before he entered the company, so that he could become a dog for Lin Qi in the future. Now, he is quite curious, no one else was watching, what exactly was Lin Qi's attitude towards him. Turning to Lin Qi's small villa, Lin Qi welcomed Lao Si into the house while drinking cola. "Sit down casually. What would you like to drink?" The fourth person sat on the sofa with his hands and feet tied, still looking timid. No need, I just came to see you." Lin Qi nodded and still brought him a can of cola. Sitting on the other side of the sofa, Lin Qi took the initiative to ask, "How is your work?" Lao Si smiled foolishly and said, "Everything has been arranged, I really trouble your mother." Lin Qi waved his hand without any concern. Lao Si observed Lin Qi's reaction on one side, while pondering and probing, he said, "You haven't even been exposed to the company yet, but I've received help from Aunt Wu. Why don't Aunt Wu also help you enter the company?" Lao Si wants to take a look, is Lin Qi really not caring or pretending? Lin Qidua watched Lao Si for 2 seconds, old Si suddenly felt that Lin Qi had seen through his disguise. But soon, Lin Qi withdrew his gaze, "I'm not interested in the company." Lao Si breathed a sigh of relief. The feeling of being seen through earlier was indeed an illusion. "Why don't you ask your family to find a university for you first? And finish reading the book," suggested cautiously. Lin Qi shook his head. Seeing this, Lao Si, who had always played the role of a shy and honest character, couldn't help but frown. Lin Qi's salted fish made him feel a bit overwhelmed. "Lin Qi. I'm thinking about my video materials, . The fourth person looked at Lin Qi and didn't expect that Lin Qi was really working hard to manage his video account. He thought it was just an excuse. What material? Lao Si asked. Lin Qi touched his chin and his eyes lit up. Set up a stall, tell fortune. Chapter 9. Can you do me a favor, fourth brother? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Qi's research found that fans on short video platforms have a curiosity mentality, a fortune-telling story. Everyone really enjoys watching it. The popularity of the account should be able to increase by one level. Coincidentally, the fourth person even brought it to his door by himself. Fourth brother, since you haven't started yet, could you please do me a favor when you have time recently? When Lao Si held a broken cardboard with the words, fortune-telling, 100 yuan per hexagram, and sat with Lin Qi in Bentley to reach the nearest park, he felt a bit dazed. He seemed to have come to fight Lin Qi in the beginning, is that right? After looking at the rudimentary equipment, Lao Si asked, how about? Let's make a better signboard and come back. Lin Qi patted his shoulder, it's okay, I rely on my strength, the signboard is not important. Lao Si. Do you really have the strength? Old Si desperately recalled, he never forgot since childhood. Of course, the Lin family did not know, and was convinced that he had never received any news that the Lin family's useless youngest could still tell fortune. Lin Qi explained to him, you help me collect money and shoot, I am responsible for fortune telling, and I will study video editing when I go back. Thank you, fourth brother. Lao Si tried hard to squeeze out a smile and maintain the image of a simple and honest brother. No hard work, no hard work. Entering the park, everywhere, there are old ladies and gentlemen walking and playing cards. Lin Qi nodded in satisfaction. Fortunately, he conducted market research in advance, and the elderly are definitely the best target audience. Found a piece of open space, Lin Qi sat on the ground, guide the fourth person to set up their phone properly and ensure that their faces are not captured. After hesitating for a long time, Lao Si still asked, 100 yuan per hexagram, would it be too cheap? He doesn't know much about the fortune-telling industry, but he also knows that so-called masters charge over 1,000 yuan. Lin Qi gave Lao Si a strange look and said, I'm doing it for video materials, not for making money. If it's not for fear that others might think I'm a scammer, free fortune-telling doesn't matter. Lao Si. Lao Si felt that he had figured it out. Lin Qi doesn't know how to tell fortune at all, he just came here to create video effects. Soon, the curious gazes of the elders and aunties all turned towards them. Lao Si didn't stand or sit with cardboard in his hand, as if it was on his back. He felt embarrassed for the first time in his life. But look at Lin Qi, sitting on the ground, being scrutinized by others, there was no discomfort at all. Half an hour later, old Si has become numb, sit next to Lin Qi. However, after so long, the elders and aunties pointed at them, but none of them were willing to try. Lao Si saw that Lin Qi was so hot that he occasionally wiped his sweat, thinking of his poor health. It's not easy to shoot a video either. Suddenly, I couldn't bear it. How about buying some actors to make videos directly? Anyway, it's all about the effect, aren't actors faster? Unexpectedly, Lin Qi shook his head, looking not far away, he said leisurely, don't worry, someone will come. Lao Si followed Lin Qi's gaze and looked at him, I just realized a couple standing not far away, both in their 50s, constantly looking towards us with hesitation on their faces. A few more minutes passed, the wife pushed her husband a few times, the two of them walked over slowly. Seeing someone really looking for Lin Qi's fortune-telling, the elders and aunties who had been watching all along gathered silently. Lin Qi had already spoken up, we still need to shoot a video. We won't let your face get in the mirror, do you mind? The couple exchanged a glance and shook their heads. Seeing Lin Qi sitting, the couple also squatted down. Old Four's spirit was shaken, quickly click on your phone to start recording. The people around whispered and questioned whether Lin Qi, who was young, could really tell fortune. Lin Qi seemed to have not heard. After observing the faces of the couple for a while, I handed them 3 coins. Shake it. The couple looked at each other. My wife took the coin, shook it, and threw it on the ground. Lin Qi raised his eyebrows. Are you looking for someone? The couple was greatly surprised. The look in Lin Qi's eyes changed. My wife's eyes turned red and she said, Master, please help us. There were constant exclamations around. Lin Qicheng's wife's comforting smile, don't worry, tell me your 2 characters first. My wife quickly informed me truthfully. Lin Qi combined their faces and said, you originally had 2 children, but the slightly older one was lost. Is it a daughter? My wife kept nodding as she listened. At the end, she let out a sob and threw herself into her husband's arms. The husband also tearfully patted his wife's back and anxiously asked Lin Qi, Master, is there a way to find her? Originally, the couple had a daughter, but she was taken away by a trafficker when she was 2 years old, and there has been no news since then. Although they gave birth to another son later, their daughter was a persistent attachment in their hearts and they never gave up searching for her over the years. Today, I just came to fortune telling with a trial and error attitude. I didn't expect Lin Qi to directly point out their daughter's situation, which surprised and delighted me. People who knew the couple next to them looked at it with sighs, while others were saying that if the child was so young and was taken away by human traffickers, it was uncertain whether they would die or live. Lin Qi glanced at the speaker and comforted the couple. Do you have any photos or personal belongings of your daughter who is still alive? Yes, there is. The husband nodded excitedly and took out an old photo he had with him, which was a 1-year-old photo of his daughter. Lin Qi held the photo. Close your eyes. Everyone held their breath almost at the same time. Next to it, starting from Lin Qi and the couple's conversation, Lao Si was already stunned. Lin Qi, do you really know how to tell fortune? Just when fortune-telling and finding people, don't you have to say some mysterious things, or do some fancy ritual gimmicks? Just hold the photo and close your eyes. Chapter 10. Lin Qi's Pursuit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, for Lin Qi, through personal belongings or photos, it is enough to see a lot of information about a person. This is the terrifying aspect of celestial calculation. When he opened his eyes, Lin Qi's expression became a bit strange and he pondered for a while. The onlookers all became nervous, not to mention the couple involved. Master, can you find it? Lin Qi said politely, you can give your son a call now. The couple was confused. Isn't it looking for a daughter? Why do you suddenly have to call your son? But with trust in Lin Qi, half believing and half doubting, I dialed my son's phone number, and under the enthusiastic request of the onlookers, the speaker was turned on. After 3 rings of bells, the phone is connected. Hello. Mom. Why are you calling me at this time? Is something wrong? Lin Qi. Ask him if he has been getting closer to a woman recently. My wife paraphrased Lin Qi's words. My son, who was originally speaking normally, suddenly lowered his voice and said, how do you know that? There is one who. She is a colleague of my new company, nice and beautiful. I felt very friendly when I first met her. Why do you ask this? As soon as everyone heard, although the son spoke hesitantly, it was obvious that he had some fondness for the woman described. Lin Qi smiled and said, I felt friendly the first time we met because they have a blood relationship. Thinking of the dark dragon, Lin Qi shook his head helplessly, and then he straightened his face. Tell the couple directly, the woman he mentioned is your daughter. A sound of inhalation echoed around. The couple was so excited that their son immediately went to find someone. My son is completely confused. After finding the person, under the guidance of the couple, the first thing the son said was, do you have a crescent-shaped birthmark on your foot? The startled head said, how do you know? My son is foolish. The couple wept with joy. The onlookers watched a scene of searching for someone on the spot and exclaimed that Lin Qitai was amazing. Originally, when she was abducted and the child fell ill on the way, the human trafficker threw the child away. It was a kind-hearted couple who picked her up and safely grew up to this age. After both sides acknowledged their marriage and cried, they made an appointment to meet tonight. The couple is extremely grateful to Lin Qi. If it weren't for Lao Si's quick and nimble support, he would still be ready to kowtow 3 times to Lin Qi. Lin Qi collected 100 yuan of divination gold and smiled as he sent the person away. Lao Si was looking from beginning to end. When looking at Lin Qi again, my eyes have changed. Really his mother. But for a moment, Lin Qi was crowded with people in front of him, all looking for him to tell their fortune. The 4th person strives to maintain order and asks everyone to queue up, one by one. Lin Qi only charges 100 yuan for all matters, big or small. Aunt just sat down. I asked about my daughter's marital relationship. Lin Qi said, the blind date you are introducing to your daughter right now is not a good match. Her true love will come later and she will have good luck getting married next year, so you don't have to worry. Auntie smiled happily upon hearing this and called her daughter on the spot to say that she would no longer be forced to go on blind dates. Her daughter was happy and the mother-daughter relationship was repaired. Someone is also asking about the child's college entrance examination results. Lin Qichuan advised, based on the current situation, there is no problem for children to get into their ideal schools. Therefore, as parents, do not forcefully intervene in their children's learning and life. They have a clear understanding of the situation. The person who asked about the results left satisfied. Even the aunt suspected her husband of cheating and asked Lin Qi to tell his fortune and catch the traitor. Lin Qi. Your husband sneaks out every day, not cheating, but playing cards and gambling. Upon hearing this, Auntie became even angrier and threatened to go home to teach her husband a lesson. By 5 p.m., Lin Qi has already calculated more than 20 hexagrams. No gossip is inaccurate. When the stall was closing, there were still many people queuing up. Lin Qi asked Lao Si to help add everyone's contact information, make an appointment in advance, and calculate tomorrow. Lin Qi and Lao Si returned to the car. Lin Qi took out a handful of red banknotes and stuffed 1/3 into Lao Si's hand. 4th brother, thank you for your help. The 4th person pinched the money. I feel a bit hot on my hands. Lin Qi worked hard for several hours, but only earned over 2,000 yuan, and surprisingly, he was still given so much on second thought, exploring. Xiao Wu, if you have this ability. However, Lin Qi patted his shoulder, interrupt his next words, now, I'm not interested in family matters at all. Anyway, there's Grandpa, my dad, and you guys in the future. You guys work hard to make money, and I'll just have a meal to eat. Lao Si. Which means that while others work hard to earn money, he is responsible for eating and drinking spicy food. Although it doesn't sound like a problem, but why do you feel so anxious in your heart?